Christopher Bell, thank you for joining us, man. Great to see you. Folks, we promised you the best in the business today, and we got two of the best up here right now. Kevin, what was your first thought when they told you they were going to put dirt on Bristol?
How dumb is that?
He's always told it like it is.
Crowd going crazy.
You asked. That was my first thought. So, you know, I think we've come a couple years, and it's been okay. For me, it's not something that I grew up doing, so it's not something that I particularly like. But it's a race on the schedule that has forced me to try to learn and do things that are outside of your box, which a lot of these guys do. And, you know, I used to do when I was younger as well. But for me, it was just going to an asphalt short track or going to. Well, I raced with you guys one summer during doing some
we were making Illinois
modified cars.
I remember you getting in my modified, and you ran the heat race, and you come in, your eyeballs were that big because Kevin didn't realize that we had Phase 9 truck NASCAR motors in our modifieds, and you had no idea.
This is by far the best story. So I got set up. They conned me into going to run this dirt race, and Schrader said, I said, man, what am I supposed to do? He said, just follow me. He said, make sure whatever you do, you stay real close.
Macon.
And so we go out on the racetrack at Macon, and I'm like, okay.
Macon's about the size that Keelan needs to be racing on, too.
You're right. And so we go out on the racetrack, and he's like, make sure you don't leave my car too far. Well, I didn't realize we were going out there to pack the track for the first several laps. And he floors the thing, and I had that much mud on my shield.
And it was my mod.
Did you have your shield open or closed?
I had it closed.
Okay. You got lucky.
I got lucky. So, and he thought that was the funniest thing in the world. So I think I tore all the fenders off of it. Didn't make the race.
You're still a badass.
I didn't do very good.
It was in my car.
Yep. And then I built my own car and went and ran. I won one race. It was at Blaney's track.
You're Sharon,
Ohio. And then I went back the next year, and I banged my head against the roll bar, and that was the end of my dirt racing career. Here I am.
All right. Christopher Bell. I just love saying C-Bell. I love these nicknames, Forever and C-Bell. Christopher, when I think of you as one of the modern-day bad boys on dirt. I watch you and Kyle Larson, and if I don't see, if I just watch the hands, you guys run the big steering wheel and open-wheel midgets, and I watch them drop the green flag, at the Chili Bowl, and 5 cars go sliding up the track, and you're leading in lap 1. The talent that you have for dirt racing, and now you're here, okay? And I watch you go from the back of the pack into heat racing, get right up there. What do you do with your hands and feet that's better than everybody else?
Well, Kenny, honestly, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
God's gift?
At times, but there's been plenty of times whenever you can't do anything right, too. So, everything has to be right. Everything has to be right. And I've been so fortunate over the course of my career to be in great race cars. And Larson can say the same thing, too. And let me tell you, I've had plenty of them where they aren't right. And whenever they aren't right, you're going to look like everyone else.
Guys, how do you like this attitude, though, that NASCAR has right now, the can-do attitude? For so many years, anytime someone had a new idea, the idea would say, oh, NASCAR's never going to do that, or NASCAR won't do that, or we've never done that. But now, all of a sudden, almost anything's on the table.
I think it's great because I love events, and I love doing things that are unique. I just wish we wouldn't do them year after year after year. I wish we would do them once and then say, okay, that was cool. Now what can we do? And because I love the fact that we can go and do unique things and move around and do different things. But I don't like when we burn them into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off of that, I think that's a great point. And for so long, the NASCAR schedule was the same year after year after year. And looking back I remember going to Pocono twice within a span of a month. And it just kind of oversaturates the market. So, I think if we could continue to add events, add places on the calendar, and maybe only go to those events once every other year, or at most, I guess, once a year, I think it would help keep the markets hot and the desire for NASCAR to be there.
So my question is for both of you, but I want to start with Kevin first. Both of you are on it this year. Kevin, you had Phoenix 1, caution ruined you. Then you go to Atlanta, and I'm thinking about what you taught me. Let off 90%, drag the brake. I know it's a different track now, but anyway, you had 2 races won. So you actually won 2 in a row in my brain as a racer, okay? now it's just, you're super strong. How do you deal with those disappointments? Now you're at the end of your career. Are you better at dealing with that?
I am, and that's why we preach to our young guys, hey, you need to treat a loss like a win and on Monday morning, because you have to be able to mentally be able to process all that and be able to get over it quickly, because there's so much work and preparation that goes into every week, and the thought process that goes behind everything that you approach has to be there, and so I think as you go to, it's not the first time I've lost a race.
I was crushed for you. At Phoenix, I was crushed for you.
Yeah, Phoenix sucked. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and Kenny said you were inside his brain. I don't know if you want to be there or not.
Yeah, well,
that might be a little dangerous.
It might be cramped.
There's a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a Kenny Schrader quote right
That's
there.
right. So you have to learn how to lose, and that's something that I stressed in what we do with Keelan a lot, and reason that we don't let him sit in one spot a lot is they have to learn. The kids don't learn how to lose enough when they're young, and then they get here and they're just so overwhelmed with losing all the time. So it's it's a fine balance between winning and losing, but you have to be able to deal with it mentally.
And the same with you, Christopher. I mean, you've been on it this year. You've been leading up in the top 5. Is it harder on you that you're younger?
I don't know. Phoenix it sucked for him, and it sucked for me too, because we were both on track for a great finish there. But in general, the end of these races are so tough. Whenever the yellow flag comes out, the restarts are just bonkers out there. So, and I can promise you tonight's going to be the same way. And I've always been a fan of seeing the race go green and letting some strategy come into play. And the end of these races are always crazy, and the results don't really indicate who's been the best car most of the time.
Kevin, you put it so well when you made the announcement that this was going to be your final year, about how much you appreciate the fans, how much you appreciated the sport. I know we could probably talk 2 hours on that subject, but how has it been for you emotionally just doing some things for the last time?
Well, it really hasn't been that big a deal, just because I don't think that it will all really sink in until you get done, because you have to be so laser focused on what you're doing inside the car that you just kind of push everything else to the side. Really, I wanted to just walk off the stage in Nashville and just say I was done. But I think once everybody started talking about it, and Tony had said some great advice on, how he did things and where he thought that should go. So really the fans and the people that work on my car and all the the people that work in the sport, you kind of owe them a little bit of something to give back to the sport, and be able to share this with everybody has been really unique and different, because I'm usually pretty closed off on what I will say about things we've done in the past, or something that I like or don't like, because you just never know when you're going to give something up, and you have to keep as close to your best as possible. When you're competing week after week and you're around all these guys day after day. But really, over the last year and a half, I've gotten to know and be around a lot of these guys, and a lot more because of everything that's been going on, and to see the just the inner workings of who they are has been really good for me. And to stick around through all the things from the safety side and the new car, and sit in a lot of meetings and things with the driver, makes me realize how pro driver I am. I want them all to be like filthy rich rock stars. So, I think because for me, it's the drivers, right? The drivers are the people who make this sport around. There's nobody.
100%.
There's nobody here, and Rick Hendrick's a great friend of mine, but Rick Hendrick or Justin Marks or whoever it is the car owner, Joe Gibbs, they're rooting for the drivers. And, I think the drivers, need to be treated a certain way, and need to be taken care of from the things that are happening with the car. And so there's way more to it than just retiring. I'm in a really good place, being happy with the things I've done in the car. Looking forward to sitting in a TV booth with Fox and getting to talk about all these guys, and what they do on Sunday in the car is special. And I want to express that to you guys, because what they do is pretty badass.
Yeah. Two things. Race fan. This man has taken no crap his whole life. He's a complete badass. From right here, jumping over, getting ready to beat Biffle's ass. All right, just wanted to make that comment. Had to get that out of my ear. Christopher, I watched those heat races, okay? And, you know, we have dirt racing terminology. You know, it's dirty on top. Somebody's got to get up there and clean it off like Earnhardt used to do in asphalt. So does the track seem any different this year? How did they lay it? What do you think? I mean, the truck race was on the bottom all night. Friesen was up. He had it cleaned off one time.
He was trying, wasn't he?
What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, the track this year is completely different than
Why? What's going on?
Man, I don't know. I mean, it got a ton of rain, but it seems like this is the hardest they've had it packed down. So, like, even whenever we started yesterday, there really wasn't a ton of grip out there. And I don't think it's going to get any grippier over the course of the night. So, hopefully, you know, we can get the top going a little bit better than what we had yesterday. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see some rooting and gouging on the bottom tonight.
See, now I completely understand that I have no idea what I'm doing. He just explained how different the track was than last year. I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Just trying to go fast, right?
I'm just gonna sit in one line all night and just
You know what?
try to go as fast as I can.
I really think, Kevin, I mean, I know you don't want to, but you're a neutral driver. In other words, all your cars you drive, just the times I've been around you, you drive really neutral. It does surprise me that you don't like dirt anymore because you just barely.
You know why I really don't like dirt?
It's
because,
dirty?
Well, I can't see.
That's a little bit of a problem.
That makes two of us, buddy.
I get in there and I'm like, what are we doing? I can't see the car in front of me.
It's
And
dirty,
I just
baby.
can't make myself. I can't make myself hold the gas down.
Maybe after you retire, you can help us get the windshields out if we keep doing this.
No, it's crazy.
Christopher, I've
The
been in his
first year
car.
was terrible.
The first year was
First
bad.
year was
I've
bad.
been in his cars before, and you just look left, and he's got them race ready, and you just turn the wheel left, and that's where you're going. Me, I'm old school. I like to turn the wheel, but he's a neutral
No turn.
racer.
Is neutral loose?
Yes.
Okay, neutral is loose. Got it.
Hey, my old crew chiefs used to say, tell me what it's like getting in, what it's like in the middle, and coming off. I'm like, that's a lot. So how do you like your car set up compared to your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been in the sport near as long as him, but from what I'm learning
Did he
is
just say you were old?
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
Experienced.
Not many
My
people
favorite,
been in the sport.
my favorite thing right now is they all give me grief because I raced in the last century.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, they say, you raced in the 1900s.
Yeah. So how do you like your car set up compared to your teammates?
Yeah, so each package, each car, each track has a different, I guess, handling characteristic that it needs. You know, if you go to, for example, I don't know, Texas or Kansas, you don't really want to be very loose. You want to be able to be tight and secure and hold your foot down. But if you go to Richmond and you're tight, or Phoenix and you're too tight, you know, you're going to be slow. So, and then the high downforce versus low downforce, some of them need to be tighter and some of them need to be looser. And it's a learning experience for me being a young guy in the sport. But here at Bristol, I can tell you one thing. Last year I was super neutral, as you like to call it. I was super neutral, and I did not feel very fast. So we're working on going the other direction for this year.
And the crazy part about this car, Kenny, is, you know, you want it tight. A little bit tight.
Tell me more about that.
Because you don't want it tight, but you want it to be as
Turn.
comfortable to close to loose because it will just spin out.
Oh.
As you
don't
saw at
feel-
Atlanta. It'll just
you
spin
don't feel
out.
the right rear on these?
No, if you get it to I mean, you can drive it loose, but it also will just step out on you. So it's a very unique machine.
Better safe than sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, most of the time on the big tracks.
Guys, there used to be a time in Cup racing where you'd go to a racetrack, maybe 4 or 5 drivers you'd look to win. Nowadays, you can go back to 20th, 21st in points sometimes and see a champion back there or a winner back there. So much has to come together just to simply win a race. How much is going to have to come together this year for somebody to win this championship?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Championship is a loose term with what we got going on now. You know, I remember, what was it, 2020 with you, Kevin? You won 8 races or whatever, the regular season championship, and didn't have a shot at the championship. So, you know, the regular season standings is a really important piece of the puzzle. And, you know, the Final Four at Phoenix is, you know, I don't even know who can execute the best and have the most fortune to get there.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Kevin,
problem.
thank you very
Give him a
much,
round of
man.
applause.
Go out there and get them tonight, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for bringing race day back. We need you all.
Absolutely.
We got to
Good
build
to see
this
you, Kenny.
sport. I love you, buddy.